Media production.
The success of the small business person is the cornerstone of the American economy. Welcome to the Small Business Today Show with your hosts, Cruz and Hughes. The Small Business Today Show is for and about small business advancement and development. What we do for you. We'll be taking your calls as we provide you small business intelligence and mentorship needed to grow your business creatively. Keep listening. The Small Business Today Show with Cruz and Hughes starts now.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes right here on Blog Talk Radio, where we discuss the topics that inspire entrepreneurs from thought to action. We welcome your calls, your comments. You can give us a call right here in our broadcast studio by giving us a call at 347-857-3958. Now, for those of you who are regular listeners to our show here at Small Business Today Radio, John Cruz is still out on the town, and I still have the good fortune. I invited my good friend Bertrand McHenry to come back and join me on the show. If you were listening on yesterday, we had a great time yesterday talking about Bertrand and his company and what he does. Bertrand is the president, chief executive officer, founder, head chief Jerpa, I don't know what else to call you, at the Referral Institute of Houston. And so I want to say welcome to the show, Bertrand.
Hey, thanks, Irv. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun yesterday.
It was fun yesterday.
I learned some good stuff about financing and
That's
getting your
right.
company funded.
That's
Awesome.
right. Yeah, we talked about access to capital and gave you the keys to the vault on yesterday. And, you know, Bertrand, in as much as today is such a super day in our country, I thought we'd commit today's show in to helping small business owners, those closet entrepreneurs who have an idea to start a business, but maybe hadn't taken the action to do so. And I'm specifically wanting to point today's show, Bertrand, at those folks out there who are bootstrappers.
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 Right. What is bootstrappers?
Bootstrappers, folks who, hey man, I've got no cash, I've got no credit, but I've got this idea that's burning me, and I think I'm going to go out and hang out my shingle and figure out what I can do to make some money.
Okay.
And so we're going to talk about some of those things, some do's and don'ts, if you will. And you know, when you have a resource like a Bertrand McHenry, and by the way, you know, we didn't talk about the book yesterday, and we got to we got to get you to talk about the book.
Okay.
Folks, author of a book. If you're talking about bootstrapping, and this fits right in with what we're going to talk about today, it's the only business book you'll ever need. And that's not really a joke. I've had a chance to read and digest the book's material. It's absolutely a textbook, if you will. I would recommend this. Find the book and then get you a small spiral notebook and just treat it like a textbook. Treat it like a course, because the information is timely, it's real, it's relevant, and it's written in such a way that it's compartmentalized so you can zero right in on whatever the heck your problem might be. But Bertrand, now how did you get involved in this kind of book before we get kind of rolling in the show today?
Well, that was a book that was kind of anchored by a fella named Brian Tracy.
Yeah. He's a sales guru.
Sales guru, motivational attitude guru.
That's right.
I've been listening to his CDs and tapes in the early days and reading his books for years and years, and you have too.
Sure, absolutely.
And that opportunity came down through some networking chains.
Well, that makes sense for you. That
right.
was, it came down through some networking efforts. Okay.
And it's a great book because he anchored it. It's called The Only Business Book You'll Ever Need to Buy.
Sure.
So they ought to just go ahead and just clear out Barnes & Nobles.
Yeah, just clear it out.
Put that book on one shelf and be done with it. So we took experts from all different kinds of fields, and everybody wrote a chapter on their field of expertise. And
sure.
I wrote the chapter on referral marketing.
Yes, and as well you should have.
Well, and I appreciate that. Thanks for reading it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
I think you're the only one.
No, I'm not. But thank you for being so modest. But no, I'm not the only one who's read it.
Yeah, it was a fun book to write, and it's a great read.
Sure, no, it's a fantastic read, folks, and I just really I hope you appreciate as much as I do having Bertrand here. And it, not only is a good friend, but a great colleague and a great businessman. And so I'm going to tax him a little bit here today, folks, and ask him some questions since we're talking about bootstrapping. With that in mind, though,
Amen.
let me ask you a question. I'm going to paint a scenario for you, and I just want to hear your take on this, Bertrand.
All right, let's go.
A good friend. Maybe a good friend of yours, could be a friend of yours, and perhaps this good friend has fallen on some times where now he's out of a job, okay? And there are a lot of Americans out of jobs right now. And this guy's been looking for a job. He's been trying to find work. He's very experienced, and Bertrand, you can wind up out of a job right at the worst possible time. It's right after you've been, 20 or 30 years in your particular industry. You're right at that funny age where you're too young to retire and you're too old to cry about it. And you've got kids in college and the whole thing going. Maybe an aging parent right about now.
Wow.
And so now the guy's frustrated because he can't find a job that'll pay him what he needs. And so the guy decides he's going to start his own business.
He's going to go for it.
He's going to go for it.
All right.
What do you say to that guy? He says, Bertrand, I'm going to bootstrap my own business. What do you say to him?
One of the first things I want to sit down and talk to that friend and say, why this business?
Yeah.
Because I kind of want to, and that I don't know that that's critical. I kind of just want to know where they're coming from.
Sure.
Why this particular business?
Sure.
Do you have an expertise in this field? Do you have a passion for it? Is it something that just kind of came to you? What is your tooling around this business that you're about to
like
jump
what kind of support do you have?
What kind of support do you have?
Sure.
Yeah, that's one of the first things I'd ask and get some kind of read on that. Then I'm going to ask, what kind of funding do you have? Because I listened to Irv Hughes the other day, and he talked about funding your business, and I want to find out what kind of funding they have. Or they, if you just lost your job, where are you coming from financing this company?
Right.
Because I'm telling you, the first couple of years, you can say all you want to. You're gonna not starve, but you're gonna run it thin for a while.
Yeah.
Especially if you're undercapitalized.
Yeah, you're gonna run skinny, of course.
And you're gonna have a spouse who needs to support that.
Ooh, that's a good one. Ooh, that's a good one.
And you need to plan for that.
Yeah,
you absolutely need to plan for that.
And you really do. And I can appreciate what you're saying there, because the truth is, spouses can go with you. Whether you're male or female doesn't matter. A spouse can ride along with you, but boy, I tell you what, it can get to be a really scary ride when they don't know how this thing is going to work going forward.
Isn't that the truth?
Absolutely. Well, listen, when we come back, we're going to talk more about this bootstrapping, and we're here with Bertrand McHenry, so don't go away. The education will continue in just a moment. We'll be right back.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
Or even worse,
we've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
So how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cuny is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancuny.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now at...
Excuse me, heavy news?
You know, disasters, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is?
Coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
Now playing at Regal Entertainment Group Theaters.
From Christopher Nolan.
This storm's coming.
The legend ends in IMAX. What are you? I'm Gotham Reckoning. The Dark Knight Rises. Rated PG-13. Visit IMAX.com for showtimes and listings.
Go to www.regmovies.com to find showtimes and buy your tickets to this and other great feature films now. That's www.regmovies.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today. Visit us on the web at cruiseandhughes.com. Here are your hosts, Cruz and Hughes.
Welcome back to the show, folks. We're talking about Bootstrapper's Delight. Today, on here with Bertrand McHenry and myself, in as much as John Cruz is out of the studio today. Listen, if you're thinking about bootstrapping a business, you can give us a call at 347-857-3958. You can join in the conversation. Don't forget, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. If you want to take a look at us, we broadcast this show live via Ustream.tv, and you can see us right now by going to www.cruiseandhughes, that's ANDHughes.com. Now, Bertrand, when we went out to break, we were talking about those questions you would ask a friend who is out trying to bootstrap a business, and you had a couple of really great points. What's going to be the plan? What kind of support do you have? What kind of money do you have to make this thing go?
Right.
What are some of the other things that you can think of that you might want to ask a good friend who's talking about bootstrapping?
Yeah, well, let's have that conversation. You know, why this business?
Right.
What kind of tooling do you have that surrounds this business? Do you have a spouse that supports your efforts? I mean, that is an enormous thing, because when you live under one roof, if you're at odds over finances on a regular basis, that's a lot of strain. And when there's drama, you can't focus on what you got to do.
Boy, isn't that the truth? And how many times have we seen, Bertrand, really great companies, entrepreneurs with really great ideas, but they just don't have that support, that spousal support. And folks, I'm not necessarily talking about money here. We're talking about having just support that your spouse understands what you're doing, understands what the plan is, and believes in contributing and supporting that effort.
Right. And how long can they go? Because if you're an entrepreneur, you may be really, really comfortable with a certain amount of risk.
Sure.
And your spouse may be risk averse. Absolutely.
That's exactly right. And with that in mind, Bertrand, you know, everybody has a different risk tolerance, if you will.
Sure.
As an old commercial banker, I have a specific risk tolerance. As an entrepreneur, I believe it or not, I have a different risk tolerance. I'm always big on betting on myself, but when it comes to money, I bet differently on others.
That makes a lot of sense, though.
Absolutely it does. And guess what? When you're talking about bootstrapping a business, folks, there's a lot of things that you have to take in consideration. Am I saying this to say to you, don't bootstrap a business? No, I'm not saying that. I am saying, though, that to take on the challenge of bootstrapping a business without giving some thought to these things that Bertrand and I are talking about, you're reducing your chances of being successful dramatically, because these are pitfalls. These are things that will come up that will eat you. And they're not, you might notice that they're not necessarily all tangible things. Like having enough money. Most bootstrappers are undercapitalized, but it doesn't mean you can't win.
Right.
You know, I always think about Ross Perot, and Ross Perot starts EDS with $1,000.
Yeah.
$1,000. Now, back then, that was a chunk of change.
Mm-hmm.
But today, it's still a chunk of change.
Absolutely.
And so, what can you do with $1,000? What could you do with $5,000? What could you do with $100? That's the point.
Well, I think I heard Mattress Mac's daughter speak recently at the Main Street Chamber, and she said her dad and mom started Gallery Furniture with $5,000.
Sure.
And ran it on cash.
Yeah.
And so they didn't put anything on credit.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. And you bring up a good point there too. I think when you're going to bootstrap a business, and Mattress Mac certainly is a great example of a bootstrapper in the context of what we're talking about here today. One of the things that you've absolutely got to get a grip on is making sure that debt doesn't spin out of control. And being on cash and being on that cash diet really kept them liquid, because if nothing else, you will stay liquid while you're in those early growth developmental stages. And that's not a bad strategy.
No, it's not a bad strategy. You just got to be prepared to do some work 24/7.
Well, sure.
Which is what he's done.
Absolutely.
His entire career.
Absolutely. And you know what? When you've got that kind of resolve, folks, boy, I tell you what, your chances of being successful go up dramatically, because you have to resolve it. And I'm going to use the word resolve. You've got to settle in your mind. You've got to settle it in your mind that you're going to do whatever is necessary to win. John, my co-host, John Cruz, he talks about one of the jobs of a small business owner is to overcome all obstacles between you and your success.
Right.
And so, when we talk about that, and we're talking about bootstrappers, folks, I want to applaud those of you who are around the country who are making that decision. Right now, I believe your country needs you. Your country needs your ingenuity. Your country needs your risk-taking. Your country needs your innovation. It needs your energy. It needs your experience and your expertise. Come out in the marketplace. Hang out your shingle. Get out there and invest in your own business. That's the kind of thing that built this country and made it great. You got to remember, I think about this every time. Bertrand is a great historian, by the way. I like being around him because he always talks about some great things in history, and we both like that. And I'm always struck by the growth and the power economically. Even on our bad days in America, we're still stronger than everybody else on the planet, folks. But here's the biggie, Bertrand. We did that in a fraction of the time that everybody, most of these countries had a 5,000-year head start on us.
We did it in a short period of time, very, very short.
I mean, you're talking about a few hundred years.
Yeah, a couple of 100 years, and how diverse we are.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, I've spent years cold calling.
Yeah.
Okay, cold calling as a salesperson, I've run across all kinds of businesses, and you can't shake my faith in our economy, because even when it's bad, because when you go cold calling, you find out there's not a garden hose company.
That's right.
There's a pink rubber washer company.
That's right.
There's a brass neck company.
That's right.
There's a company that sells a rubber, and there's a company that puts fabric in the rubber, and then there's a company that folds it into a hose, and then there's a company that puts them all three together and takes them to Walmart.
That's right.
So there's 5 or 6 different companies that come together and make a garden hose.
Wow.
And so there's all these niche markets that people can feed it. There's a company in Sugarland that just stamps out pink rubber washers that go in the necks of hoses. That's all they do.
That's all they have to do.
That's all they have to do. Yeah. It's unbelievable. So whatever you can think of, you can probably start a business around it. So I'm thinking those are some of the questions I'd ask. I'd also ask, what is your marketing plan? Do you have a network that's going to be able to support the growth of your business?
That's good.
Do you have anybody in the marketplace that's going to champion your cause for you, aside from salespeople?
Yes.
Friends who love you and love what you're doing and want to get out in the marketplace and talk about you.
People who know who you are, know your character, and know what you do.
Right. It's invaluable. It's invaluable, and people don't put enough emphasis on that.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I want to touch on, because you mentioned marketing, and I'm absolutely going to come back and talk about some of those bootstrap marketing points, if you will. So I'm going to cover that in today's show. But, Bertrand, you mentioned one of the things about people who know you. And it's interesting because in today's economy, John Cruz and I talked about this on one of our earlier shows, that I believe trust is the new currency.
And Stephen Covey talks about that.
Trust is the new currency, folks. And let me tell you what, if you're going to start a business, you better get darn good at being able to make someone get comfortable with you quickly. And making sure that you're credible, making sure that you tell the truth, whether they like it or not. Because you know what, I believe in business, Bertrand. Everybody can deal with whatever it is that is the truth.
I think so too, and I think that what you're describing is at some point you have to decide: is this a group of people I want to run with?
That's
and then you got to decide: now I'm going to plant my feet and I'm going to invest in these relationships, because it's not going to happen overnight.
That's correct.
And you're going to have to do some things that to get into relationship with those people.
Well, absolutely. And then there's this, we talked about this kind of on yesterday. There's the sustainability issue.
Right.
Relationships convert in a business can convert to a certain amount of revenue. And then is that revenue that you converted to, is that sustainable? And then what are you going to do to keep that sustainable? And that's where that trust comes in. That's where the confidence comes in. And when you rock the confidence and trust in a relationship, you got real trouble.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things that I think that you do a great job with at Referral Institute, where you're actually teaching those strategies and techniques about developing in those relationships and then moving them along until they become very profitable.
Absolutely. And right now the buzzword is business by relationship. Everybody's saying it,
yes,
but very few people know exactly what that means. I mean, it's
right.
a trendy thing to say right now, but what does it mean when the rubber meets the road? What
Sure.
does it take to build a relationship?
Sure. And it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier, Bertrand. Talked about networking. A lot of people are talking about networking, but they don't really know what that means.
Exactly.
They think that I've run across a lot of people, Bertrand, who believe that networking is business card swapping.
Business card aerobics. Let me get out of breath to see how many business cards I can pass out.
It's business card swapping. That's what it is.
Exactly.
And they say, "Oh, we were at a networking meeting, and look, I got 100 business cards."
Right.
Wow.
What does that mean?
What does that even mean?
How do you monetize that? That's the question you got to ask somebody because you can engage in busy work and think you've done something.
Oh boy.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
We've all been there.
You know what? And not only that, but you can really burn up your card scanner.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you can always run them through your card scanner, and you can feel really great about that.
Right.
And but I really believe that networking, Bertrand, and you can correct me because you're really the networking expert, but to me, networking is when your product or service can be joined with someone else's product or service, and you increase that person's value.
That's a big part of it. That is a big part of it.
Yeah, so maybe we'll kick that around some more when we come back. Folks, you're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. It's brought to you by Small Business Today magazine. Listen, if you have not yet gotten your free copy of Small Business Today magazine, you can do so by simply going to our website at www.smallbusinesstodaymagazine.com. Sign up for your free digital subscription. You'll get it each and every month. When we publish it, some great articles in there written by experts in their particular fields. Stay with us. We'll return in just a moment.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
Or even worse,
we've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
So how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cooney is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancooney.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now at...
Excuse me, heavy news?
You know, disastrous, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is...
Coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
Now playing at Regal Entertainment Group Theaters.
From Christopher Nolan.
The storm's coming.
The legend ends in IMAX. What are you? I'm Gotham's Reckoning. The Dark Knight Rises. Rated PG-13. Visit IMAX.com for showtimes and listings.
Go to www.regmovies.com to find showtimes and buy your tickets to this and other great feature films now. That's www.regmovies.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. We're wherever you are.
Welcome back to the show, folks. You're listening to this episode of Small Business Today, where we're talking about Bootstrapper's Delight and how you're going to go about starting bootstrapping your business. And I'm here with my good friend, co-host, Bertrand McHenry, and we're engaged in some great conversation, and certainly you're welcome to join us by giving us a call. You can call us right here in our broadcast studios at 347-857-3958, or you can join us in the chat room, post your question over there, and we've got our great producer extraordinaire, Mr. Stephen K., who will be able to get your question on the air, and maybe we can talk to you about that and address some of the questions that maybe some other listeners are having, and you were brave enough to go and put in the chat room. So, Bertrand, when we went to break, we were engaged in some conversation in talking about this whole idea of what are you going to do. You mentioned marketing, which I wanted to really drill down on in this section, in this segment of the hour, and talk about some of those things that maybe do's and don'ts of bootstrap marketing. Now, let me ask you this. With regard to somebody who's bootstrapping a business, and let's assume they've got all of those things that we talked about in the top half of the show, that they've pretty much got those things in order.
Okay.
What do you see as some of the things that can creep up and still hurt somebody that's just trying to get their business going?
Lack of knowledge, and that causes inactivity. Look, I mean, we've talked about it before. An entrepreneur goes out and gets a DBA.
Yep.
Takes 2 steps out of the courthouse.
Sure.
And goes, now what?
Yeah.
Now
That's right.
what?
That's right.
And so for probably, 2 weeks to 6 months, maybe even a year, they get up in the morning, they have their coffee, they look at their goals for the day, and they pull the shades and take a nap because they're so depressed they don't know what to do. And and that's what you and I have a passion for because we know that's the truth for people.
That's exactly right.
And you know how we know that's the truth? Because we did it.
That's right. That's exactly right. We have the scars to prove it.
Right. And so we know that that's kind of a universal thing with lots of entrepreneurs who don't enter into there's a different kind of startup where you're a startup with some partners and you're a CEO and you've got, $5 million budget, that's
absolutely.
a different kind of thing.
Isn't that wonderful?
But now you're talking about I'm out of a job.
That's right.
Or maybe I just want to start something of my own and I just didn't think it through good enough. I'm the type of person who pulls the trigger quickly, and now I'm stuck in this thing and I don't know a way out. That's why I ask, what kind of a network, what kind of support do you have? So the biggest advice I could give is always take action, because action leads to action.
Right.
In the doing of something, you arrive at solutions for other things.
Right.
In the sitting and stewing about your situation, you never find a solution in your head. You always find a solution in the doing.
That's right.
In the moving forward.
That's right. Bertrand, you just brought up a really great point that's really passionate, a point of passion for me. As I help entrepreneurs get started or grow their business, one of the big points that I talk about a lot is breaking the inertia. There is inertia. When you start a business, it's a change, and change comes with inertia. None of us want to change. We'd like to think we're okay right where we are, the way we are, even though we may be suffering.
Right.
Because now that's normal for us to suffer. Well, guess what? Now you've got to make a change, and let me tell you what, I talk to my clients all the time about this is one of the things that's made me successful as a business consultant over all these years is I know you have inertia. I know you do. And part of what I'm going to do as your coach and consultant is to make sure that you keep moving.
Right.
Even though you might feel like, hey, Irv, wait a minute. All the conditions aren't right to start. Well, guess what? They're never going to be right to start.
Right.
Not all of them.
Right.
Not all of them. And am I going to sit here and let you convince me that you can't move until all the conditions are right to start?
Correct.
No, I'm not going to let you do that.
Right.
And so I'm really passionate about that because you're so right. You can't just sit there and cook.
No, and people think, let me stop and think about this. That won't do it either.
No, that won't do it.
You've got to always be moving every day. In fact, I heard somebody at Sandler Sales say one time, can we just agree that if you're not in front of a prospect today, you are not in business?
Yeah, exactly.
And so we can get caught up in this idea that let me fix my Facebook page because that's important because they're going to find me the SEO, SEO stuff.
Yeah.
And I need to get that in my Twitter and all that kind of lined up on Hootsuite and all that kind of stuff. That's really important business. Hootsuite.
I like that.
But if you're not in front of a prospect that day, you can't really consider that you were in business that day.
That's exactly right. And that's what I mean by breaking that inertia, folks. When you start your day, I learned from a great friend and colleague also. Dana Steele was on the show with us earlier this year, and one of the things that she said was, when you start your day, go call somebody who can get you some money. Don't let your morning go by and you didn't make some phone calls or write a letter or do something to reach out to somebody who can get you some money. And I just thought that was very cool. Whether that's a prospect, whether that's a customer, whether that's an investor, whether that's a lender, whoever that is, start your day, get that done first. And boy, that just really resonated with me.
She's full of really wise nuts and bolts, practical things like that.
She's absolutely fantastic with that. And speaking of nuts and bolts, let's talk about some nuts and bolts because I want to give you guys some bullet points, some takeaways from today's show. For those of you who are bootstrapping, maybe you've got a limited budget or little or no budget at all, and you've started your business, and now you've got to figure out how you're going to go about marketing yourself. And let me tell you what, folks, bootstrapping is about marketing. That's what it's about. That's how you got to do it. And it's vitally important that you are mindful about what it's going to take. And let me just give you, I'm going to run through a few of these. Number one, if you're going to do a bootstrap marketing campaign, the thing has to be cost effective for obvious reasons. Why? Because in bootstrap marketing, you don't have a big giant budget. Okay, so you're going to need that. The next thing is you got to make sure that you've decided what it is you're going to do, and that you're going to absolutely see it through. In other words, you're going to be unwavering in your campaign.
Right.
Number three, you got to make sure it's branded. You gotta do something where your marketing campaign is gonna be branded back to you.
Are you saying that Vistaprint cards or perforated cards are not the way to go?
I'm saying that is not the way to go. You're going to get in a world of hurt because you're branding yourself
less than
you should be. John Cruise kind of has a philosophy: it's all right to be small, just don't look small.
Right.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying here, folks. It's all right to be small, but you can't look small.
Right.
And that's the thing. And so it's vitally important that we talk about those things. Next thing, consistency. Certainly, you want to be consistent with your message. You want to make sure your message is consistent. Don't send mixed messages in your marketing campaign, folks. If you sell concrete, then sell concrete.
Right.
Don't sell concrete and hot dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So hey Bertrand, we got some people on hold for us, and hey, why don't we take a few calls?
That sounds great.
All right, let's do it. So we have some calls. Oh yeah, who's on the air with us? Roger?
Yes.
Hi, Roger. Irv Hughes here. How are you?
Irv, fantastic show. This is Roger. Terrific show. Actually, I saw Stephen K. posted it on LinkedIn, so that's part of a little bit of social media.
Well, that's great.
Sort of my question.
That's great.
Well, that's awesome.
I love what you guys are saying. So how do you guys, how do you talk to business owners and help them understand that Facebook, Twitter is not the same as marketing, as networking, which is not the same as being in front of a prospect?
Well, that's awesome. I think that is a great question for you, Bertrand. For you, because you are the networking guru, and
right.
He's right to call and ask you this question.
So let me just clarify. You're asking how do you talk to business owners or budding entrepreneurs about the fact that social media is something that's not going away, but it's not the same as staying in front of a prospect. Is that your question?
Beautiful.
Okay.
Well stated.
Okay, perfect. And I have that conversation all the time. Here's my answer to that. You've got social media is not going away. We've got to be on it. We've got to be participating and got to be a part of it. Whether you automate that or hire somebody to do that for you,
sure.
You must be plugged into social media, or you will be left behind. Having said that, as an entrepreneur, it's very, very difficult to measure the effectiveness of social media. So just know that going into it. You don't need to spend a whole lot of time doing it. We're not Coca-Cola where we can do millions and millions of likes and hits and be able to measure those large numbers, because the law of large numbers changes everything. As entrepreneurs, as bootstrappers, I want to be plugged into that.
Sure.
But I want to spend the majority of my time monetizing my efforts where I'm in front of prospects on a more regular basis.
So Bertrand, are you saying that social media is necessary, but it's got to be used in the right context?
Social media for the entrepreneur right now is not yet a hard-edged economic driver like sales is, like referral marketing is.
Right. Gotcha. So now, Roger, does this answer your question, or is that, or did you have a follow-on question?
Fantastic. I guess it's one of my giant. I'm a coach consultant also, and that is one of my giant. I think a lot of salespeople spend a lot of time. A lot of business owners spend a lot of time on Facebook and Twitter thinking that's the same as being belly to belly with a prospect.
Exactly.
No substitute.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd love to talk to you after the show about that.
Sure.
Yeah, you can. You know what? If you want to, you can certainly give us a call here at the show, and we would thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah,
you can give us a call here at the office at 832-460-2020. Folks, you're listening to Small Biz Today with Cruz and Hughes. It's brought to you by RingCentral.com. To get RingCentral's virtual PBX for your business, you can call us today at 888-716-5022. Don't go away. The education continues right after this.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
Or even worse,
we've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
So how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash. I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cuny is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancuny.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now,
Excuse me, heavy news?
you know, disasters, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is
Coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
free.
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
Now playing at Regal Entertainment Group Theaters.
From Christopher Nolan,
The storm's coming.
the legend ends in IMAX. What are you? I'm Gotham's Reckoning. The Dark Knight Rises. Rated PG-13. Visit IMAX.com for showtimes and listings.
Go to www.regmovies.com to find showtimes and buy your tickets to this and other great feature films now. That's www.regmovies.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today. Visit us on the web at cruzandhughes.com. Here are your hosts, Cruz and Hughes.
Welcome back to the show, folks. We've been having a great conversation talking about bootstrappers. And those of you who are out there who are looking to start your business, you want to go out, hang out your shingle, and get started in business. But we've been talking about some of those kinds of things that you're going to need to watch out for. And we have here in studio my good friend and co-host, Mr. Bertrand McHenry. And he is the president and chief executive officer of Referral Institute of Houston. And you know what, Bertrand, I want you to give out your contact information in case somebody wants to reach out to you.
Yeah, you can reach me at Bertrand at referralinstitutehouston.com, or you can reach me at my phone. It's 281-401-9852.
Yeah, we should have got that in earlier.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry about that. But I want people to be able to reach out and grab you, man. That's wonderful. Well, you know, we had Roger on the phone right before we went to break.
Great question.
And he had great questions
brilliant.
on there. And really, Roger, we really appreciate you calling in and participating in the conversation today. But I wanted to give our listeners some takeaways. And right before Roger called, we sort of got into these takeaways, these bullet points, if you will, in talking about rules of the road for bootstrap marketing, so to speak. And when we left off, we were talking about making sure that your message was consistent. Don't send a mixed message out to your customer base. And then make sure that your message is focused on the customer. I see so many messages for small businesses when they're getting started and they don't even ask their customers what's meaningful and relevant to them. And so all of a sudden they're sort of pushing this message out of what they believe is valuable to their customers without asking. I think you're flying blind at that point.
Yeah, Michael Dell wrote about that several years ago because they came out with some products because they thought that's what the market wanted instead of asking what the pain points were so that they could provide the solution.
Exactly.
And they had to scrap a whole line of computers.
Oh, yeah, and boy, that's expensive. And guess what, folks? When you're a bootstrapper, you really can't afford that. All right, that's not something you want to get into guessing about what message you should be sending and what's important to your customers. You know what? Grab you a handful of customers, and I know you're going to be blown away by this, but ask. Okay. All right. Now, number 6, and you can help me with this one, Bertrand. Direct it at your target market. Now, that sounds great as long as you know who your target market is. And boy, how many people have we seen who are bootstrappers, Bertrand, and they haven't taken the time to figure out, well, who is my target market?
This is a hot button for me because I teach a class actually called Finding Your Starting Point. And one of the things we do in that class is drill down and discover what your target market is, because most people believe that my target market is everybody who comes to my store.
Boy.
Not the case for several reasons, because if I communicate too wide, my referral partners are going to have a hard time kind of latching on to what they need to bring me.
Sure.
And the other thing is you need to take into consideration, as I was telling you on break, some of my target market information are, for me, I like to have people in class who are participants or students who are lifelong learners.
Sure.
Positive attitudes, solution-oriented, because otherwise, when I get the opposite of that in my classrooms, they drain me.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I just flat out don't like to work with people like that.
Well, you know what? It's very tough because when you're in an instructor's position, a lot of people don't think about it, but there is some give and take that happens between the student and the teacher.
Right.
And that interaction is important.
And it is. And I guess my overarching point is that your target market is going to also include where can you find the resource, where you can find customers who can pay.
Sure.
That's one. And the other thing is, it's a lifestyle question. Who do you love working with? Who
Absolutely.
turns you on? At the end of the day, who fires you up and who drains you?
Absolutely. And you know what? That you bring up a great point, too, probably for all of our business coaches and consultants out there. I've gotten accused of this, of being somewhat, and I was going to use the word picky, but I think selective is perhaps a better word, about who it is that I'm going to join up with in the way of a business coach or a consultant. And I've found that in my career, even though my focus is for the most part finance and contracting, still I'm looking for those folks where we have an energy that gets created between the two of us. You know what I mean?
Some synergy, yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Moving on, number 7, trust and confidence building. We just kind of touched on that, talking about, folks, trust is the new currency in this business climate today. You've got to be able to increase the level of trust and confidence that your customers have in you, and you want to create experiences that will cause them to naturally feel more confident. You know what? And one good way to do that is, hey, folks, you know what? Be pleasant. Do more than what's expected. It's okay. Half the time, because the expectation of most prospects and customers in small business is so low, it doesn't take a whole lot for you to set yourself apart and with great customer service and great customer experiences, and that builds confidence and trust.
Right, I totally agree with that. Yeah, and in the referral marketing, when I describe the steps to a referral, the very first step is the largest step on the diagram, because that step happens to be trust. It just takes the longest time to develop.
Sure.
And you're always either making deposits or taking withdrawals out of those relationships. So it's really important.
That's a great way to look at that too. It's almost like a relationship account.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're making deposits into it, and one day, that relationship can grow. And guess what? You can make some withdrawals, or at least convert that thing to cash.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's wonderful. Next thing, boost your visibility. I'm stunned at the number of people who will go hang their shingle out, Bertrand, and then they'll go and they'll get a nice little office space or even office out of their home, but they'll sit there every day.
Yeah.
And it just blows my mind. You understand you're not visible, right? You got to get out and circulate. Get around people you don't know. Sorry.
That's so true. I mean, you can't be a cave dweller and build your business. It's just absolutely impossible.
You just can't. And you know what? The better you circulate, the luckier you will get.
Oh, that's the truth.
Isn't that something?
Absolutely.
And so next thing, and this is one, number 9, repetition. Do it over and over again. That makes perfect. All right, practice makes perfect, and practice is repetitious. Folks, keep doing what you do well until you do whatever it is you do better than all of your competitors. That's critical. Do what you do and do it often.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Number 10, and you might be stunned at this one, but folks, keep it simple. Don't send convoluted, all these layers of communications. Keep your message simple and concise. All right? I've learned that from our good friend Stephen K. He always says, keep your message simple and concise so that people can understand what it is you're doing, what your offer is, and what the value of that is going to be to them.
And let them ask the questions, too, if they're a little bit off of that.
Well, absolutely, of course. And, and let's be honest, if you've got a great message out there and it's prompting questions back to you, there are some questions in your marketing that you do want to have your prospects ask you. Absolutely. And those are certainly questions that you have great answers for. So listen, folks, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be in the home stretch. We're going to wrap this up. You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. This segment was brought to you by the Lexington Law Firm. Listen, when you need credit help, get a free consultation today by calling 888-744-7081. More in a moment.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Steven, how do I make radio advertising work?
Or even worse,
we've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
So how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cuny is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancuny.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now,
excuse me, heavy news?
You know, disasters, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is
coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
Now playing at Regal Entertainment Group Theaters.
From Christopher Nolan.
The storm's coming.
The legend ends in IMAX.
What are you? I'm Gautam's Reckoning. The
Dark Knight Rises. Rated PG-13. Visit IMAX.com for showtimes and listings.
Go to www.regmovies.com to find showtimes and buy your tickets to this and other great feature films now. That's www.regmovies.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. We're wherever you are.
Well, welcome back to the show, folks. Listen, if you're just joining us, wow, did you miss a great show? So you want to make sure you go on our website at cruzandhughes.com and listen to our archive shows. All of our shows are archived right on our website at www.cruzandhughes.com. Bertrand.
Irv.
Well, we've had another great show today, man. I really enjoyed having you on.
It was fantastic. Thanks for having me. What a great conversation.
Oh, it was a great conversation. Talked about bootstrapping, man, and talked about, hey, folks, you know what? We live in a great country, and it's wonderful to be able to be in your own business and participate in the free enterprise system as opposed to being run over by it. So go hang out your own shingle. Bertrand, I hope to have you back on the show, man. I'm always going to give you an opportunity to come and hang out with us on the show. When John comes back, man, we're going to have you come and we can just all three of us get on, man.
Yeah.
Just really rip it.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, that'd be a blast.
And that's very cool. Thanks so much for being on the show. Yeah, that's right, man. We're going to get together and just be throwing it down, man, as it were. Well, listen, before we go, I want to give you guys the opportunity. Listen, I've got a seminar that I'm going to be doing here on Friday, November 9th. It's going to be at 10 a.m. in the morning. We're going to be getting together over at the Kingdom Builder Center. It's the Small Business Open Government Contracting Seminar. It's a free seminar. I do this about twice a month or so, where I'm inviting small business owners who are looking to grow or expand their business to come in and hear some straight information, some insider information, if you will, about how government contracting could be used to help grow and expand your sales. And it's a great seminar. We always have a great time doing that. If you want to RSVP, you're going to need to, because seating is limited in that workshop. And the number is 713-726-2500. You can call those folks over at Kingdom Builder Center, and they'll be able to get you a seat reserved over there so that you can come. Hey, come on out and meet me. Join me. We'll have a great time over there. Also, if you want to have your business featured on Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes, you can give us a call at our business office at 832-460-2020. Well, until tomorrow, be smart, be successful, folks, and above all else, be in action, and we'll see you tomorrow.